Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson here from ZeldaDungeon.net, and you are watching our video walkthrough for the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This is the 12th chapter of the walkthrough, which covers the 4th dungeon in the game, the Stone Tower Temple. As soon as you start, I recommend playing the Inverted Song of Time to slow down time to 1/3 that of normal, which gives us a ton of time to complete this temple. The jars just outside the temple contain bombs and arrows, which is important, and you may want to swipe up the fairy in a bottle. Now, at the end of the last video, I just got 2 green potions and a bottle of Chiteo Romani. Now, one or the other would be a really good idea, since we are using a ton of magic throughout this dungeon. Green potions restore your magic completely, while Chiteo Romani does that, as well as gives you infinite magic for the remainder of that 3-day cycle. So if you drink it right now, you will have infinite magic forever until you play the Song of Time. So that's pretty sweet. Now, I have only got both of those just to show how to get them. I will not actually be drinking either of them because I'm trying to show how to complete this temple without needing them at all. But anyways, I recommend you do them. And also, if you would like some healing items for your remaining bottles, at this point you can use fairies. They're free and also everywhere. They're easy to get, but they only restore 10 hearts, so there are some better options at this point because we have so many hearts. You can get red potions from the trading post, but also another option is to get blue potion from the business scrub in Ikana Canyon. It's a little more expensive, but that potion will restore both your life and your magic, so that would probably be the most efficient. It's costly, but if you fill up all of your bottles with that, you will be uber. Okay, at long last, it's time to enter the temple. So there is a switch puzzle out here that you need to step on the switches and then hold them down using statues with the Elegy of Emptiness, using your normal form, the Zora Mask, and the Goron Mask to create 3 statues holding the switches down. The correct order to move the blocks so that they don't hit into each other is right, left, forward. I have a little image shown on the left as well to make this a little more clear, but this is the correct order that you will need to use in order to solve this puzzle, which will allow you to jump across and enter the temple itself. In this entrance area, you'll immediately encounter 2 dragonflies. There's a lot of different things you can use to kill them at this point, but I'll take this opportunity to show you something cool. You can charge up your fins with the Zora Mask and then release, and then take off the Zora Mask and put it back on again to charge up a second set of double cutters. This is a funny little glitch, but it's a nice way to attack multiple enemies at once, especially pesky ones that you don't want to get too close to. There's also a real Bombchu straight ahead in the middle who will run around like crazy once it sees you if you get too close, but you can lure him around to the sides so that it goes down those little arches, or you can just attack it from range. I recommend using the Zora Mask for that as well because the fins will follow it. After that, we have our first stray fairy to grab. You want to use the hero's bow to shoot the golden eye switch on the statue straight ahead, which creates a chest in the center platform. You can't reach it normally, it's a little too far, but against the wall here there's less distance to jump, so you can easily make it with a normal jump. Now you can come out on this particular door here later, so you can also just snag it with that chest then, but alternatively you can also just roll jump across this gap, or simply use the Bunny Hood or Zora Mask to reach it as well. With Stray Fairy in hand, you want to enter the west door. Now, a very useful mask that I got back in Chapter 7 is the Stone Mask, which makes you invisible to certain enemies. It works with a lot of the enemies that are in this temple specifically, so that's great. You can wear it for these real Bombchus if you like, so that you can just ignore them. However, you'll notice that as soon as I take off the mask, it freaks out and runs towards me. The easiest way to defeat them is to simply use your shield to bonk into them. There are several throughout this area, and you may want to kill them first, and a few of them you're going to have to kill, as you'll see. Once they're dead, you want to stand on the switches and use the Elegy of Emptiness to create statues. Now, one of these switches is larger than the others, so you're going to need the Goron Mask to keep it pressed down. Because of this, you're going to have to kill that real Bombchu right next to it. But anyway, just use the Goron Mask and play the Elegy of Emptiness to keep it pressed down. You'll quickly notice that there are 4 floor switches, and they pop back up as soon as you step off them, but we can only make 3 statues, meaning that we're going to have to find something to hold them all down. Now, we don't have the map yet, but if you did, it would show a side area back here that's behind this wall right here, which looks very suspicious and has a crack in it. In most Zelda games, walls that are bombable have cracks in them, making it pretty obvious what you need to do. Majora's Mask doesn't explain this very well, unfortunately, so if you are only familiar with Majora's Mask and haven't played other Zelda games, this doesn't really make sense. You want to use bombs or the Blast Mask to break down this wall, revealing some large crates that you can then blow up as well, or roll into, or Fire Punch to remove. Now, see that chest that's above me on the ceiling? We'll actually be coming back for that later on, so just keep that chest in mind because we will be returning here. You want to stand next to these little crates and pick them up with A. You want to take them back to these smaller floor switches, and while standing still on them, press the A button again to set them down. If you press A while running, you will toss them just like you do with bombs, which will then break the crates. There are 2 crates back here that you can use, but we'll only actually need 1 of them, because we can make 3 statues and we need 1 crate. So if you mess up and destroy them both, then unfortunately you're going to have to re-enter the room and come back to make them reappear, which also restarts the puzzle, which is sad. Once you have all the floor switches pressed down, you want to go out the gate and enter the open area. There's a tan-colored square here on the floor off to the left, which is bombable. Blow it up and then either fall down it or go down the stairs. If you came down here first, Tattle would give you a clue about air flowing down from this chimney thing in the ceiling, which is a clue that you need to go back up and blow that up. As long as we're here, you want to use your hookshot on the target off to the right that is on the ceiling, which brings you to an upper ledge with a chest containing the second Stray Fairy. Alright, so if you didn't blow up that tan panel that's on the floor directly above us, you need to go do that now. Then return here and reflect some sunlight onto the sunblock that is directly in front of us. Now these statues right next to us are just stone, but the ones across the way, as well as the ones in the lava, are real, meaning they will come to life when you touch them. Armo statues have been in a lot of the games of the Zelda series, and in most of the games they are vulnerable to bombs. In this case, we're actually better off using the Goron mask. You want to stand next to them, and after you wake them up, hold R to defend if they come at you, and wait for a good chance to fire punch them. They rush towards you and will eventually explode, which you can also use to your advantage because explosions make them die. So you can kill one, and then make it walk over to the other ones, and when it explodes, it will kill its buddy. Which is kind of ironic. Like, I just find it super silly that in death, Armos perform the very action that is their weakness. You know what I mean? Family get-togethers must be terrible for them. If one of them has an accident and explodes, taking the rest of the family down with them, no wonder they don't reproduce very well. After they're all dead, you want to open the chest that appeared to get a small key. Then run forward and open the gold-lined chest to get the dungeon map. This is without a doubt one of the most confusing temples in the series, as you'll quickly find out, so that a map is more than welcome. With that in hand, you want to go back up the stairs, roll through the grass if you need some goods, and then enter the locked door. So in this water-filled room, if you turn off to the left, you'll see a Bimo statue and a sunblock. See it? Got it? Okay. Remember it! Moving on, you want to jump into the water and swim over to the opposite side. There's a Dexy hand here, and your natural reaction is to make it feel pain. However, you can also use this to your advantage. If you let it grab you... Ah! Oh! Ah! Ah! Oh, hey, that's kind of cool. You want to go and open the chest off to the side to find a small key. Yes! Now, I do want to point out, though, there is an alternative method to getting up here. This ledge is a little too high to dolphin jump onto, and by that I'm referring to swimming and then jumping out of the water while still swimming. But there's a glitch you can use to climb up. You see, when you take off or put on transformation masks while in the water, it uses the same animation it uses on land, which changes your height. By floating in the water next to the ledge, you can put on the Zora mask to make yourself a little taller, giving you a slight boost. Hold the analog stick towards the ledge, and you can then, if it's just a little too high, you can probably grab onto it and pull yourself up this way. There's only a few places in the game where this trick is actually useful, but this is one of them. The small key in hand, hop back in the water, kill the Dexy hand if you wish, then swim through the hallway it was guarding. This emerges into a large open room filled with water, Biodecubabas, and skullfish at the bottom. You can use the double cutters to kill them, but it's much faster and easier to simply swim through them and hold R, killing them in a single hit. You don't actually have to kill them, but what can I say? I'm a fan of causing pain and suffering to computer-generated characters. Our next objective is a floor switch under here. You can smack these spike mines with the double cutters, but it's easier to hold Z and R and simply walk into them. This forces them to the end of their chain, which will knock them down. Next, you want to step on the switch, which makes a chest appear, and of course, it's too cool for us, appearing upside down and all. Unfortunately, we will be unable to open that until later, so just keep that in mind. Next, swim to the surface. Alrighty, so there's a mirror doohickey here that's all convex-like, which Tattle has some info on, but she's not very helpful. The puzzle is pretty obvious, but what we want to do is go stand in the light and reflect some onto the mirror, which apparently can hold a charge. The longer you hold it, then the longer it will last, up until about 10 seconds or so, then that's the max amount it can hold. You want to charge it up pretty full, and then use its reflection to reflect some light onto the sunblock. So that's pretty sweet. This gives us a shortcut back to the entrance room, and also unveils a chest that is guarded by a real bomb shoe. You want to defeat it, and then open the chest to get the compass. This is actually really, really helpful for this dungeon. All of those upside-down chests that you've been seeing, well as the ones that we haven't found yet, are going to be visible on your map. You'll also be able to use this to track them down, which is super nice. So with compass in hand, you want to run over to the opposite side of the room and use the small key we got earlier to go through the locked door. Oh look! An Aztec version of those ice cylinders we punched out in the Snowhead Temple. You want to fire punch them with the Goron mask to make them disappear, which reveals sunlight that we can then use to solve the puzzles in this room. However, you will notice that there are lots of black bows in here, but unfortunately they'll just keep reappearing constantly. However, if you have the stone mask, you can wear it to make them leave you alone. In fact, they won't attack you at all, so you can touch them without getting hurt, because they only hurt you when they are jumping at you. These things kind of remind me of the little soot critters in the movie Spirited Away, in a cute, evil spirit sort of way. Alrighty, time to go check up on our sunlight. There are 6 sun faces on the walls here near the entrance, but most of them will just burn up pointlessly. In the last game, choosing the wrong ones would make traps or enemies appear, but this game's more forgiving, I suppose. The correct sun face is the last one on the east wall, which is the only one that will bring you happiness. This creates a chest containing the next stray fairy, but I'll snag that in a moment. You've probably been eyeing those mirrors in the middle. First of all, you want to charge up the one on the right side, and once it's soaked up pretty good, you want to rush over and use the reflection to shine light onto the sun block that is on the right. After that, you want to run in there and open the chest to get a stray fairy. It's guarded by a Nijiron, which you can defeat with arrows or the hookshot from afar, but I didn't show it here appearing because I'm wearing the stone mask. You should wear it because it's a lot easier if you have it, but after that, go back to the other chest if you haven't done that yet, and open that to get the other stray fairy. So we got 2 in this room. Okay, for this whole room I have been using the stone mask thus far, but I'm going to prove to you now that it's not required. The next thing is the hardest part of this room, which is getting to the next door. Wearing the stone mask makes this way easier, but I'm going to show you how to do it without it. We need to use the mirrors on the left, but without the mask the black bows will continually reappear. Wait until one of them comes after you, position yourself right, kill it, and as soon as it dies, begin using your shield to charge up the left mirror. This is the part that stumps most people. You need to charge it up, but the trick is to just keep charging it until the black bow reappears and hits your shield. Once it tries to hit you, kill it, and then run for the next set of mirrors. Wait here as long as possible to charge the second mirror as much as you can, and then kill the next bow once it gets too close. As soon as it's dead, make a run for the sunblock. This gives you the most amount of charged sunlight you can possibly have. It's very tricky, believe me. I struggled with this the first time I played this too, but I know how frustrating it can be. And you can defeat the Nijirons at the end if you need some bombs as well. For this next room, you want to immediately put on the Goron mask and use A to roll off the ledge and into the lava. Underneath this entrance platform is a Goron switch. You need to press it down and then with a Goron pound to deactivate the flames on the floor switch on the opposite side of the room. You need to go around and step on it before the flames come back, but you'll never make it in time unless you roll. Of course, there's just conveniently a ton of stuff in the way. Nice. Now this is, in my opinion, one of the most challenging puzzles, and I'll rewind and explain this in slow motion. You want to stand on the switch and face forward. This way, when you regain control, you'll be facing in the right direction. So the problem is, when you roll, you can bonk into stuff, and people try to roll as much as they can, as far as possible, or they try and roll slower so that they don't bonk into stuff, and this is the mistake. The trick to completing this is to focus on your analog stick. Use it to move around, and whenever you're close to a barrier, let go of the A button. Whenever you're walking through lava, then hold down the A button. Just think of it like walking. Just use the A button to sprint whenever you get a good chance, but then let go of A and just keep moving the analog stick like you normally would, just walking. By doing several quick rolls, just by only pressing and letting go of A, constantly holding the analog stick in the direction you want to go, you should be able to make it within the time limit. When you successfully reach the switch, it will create a chest on the ledge above containing one of these stray fairies. Before we leave, I do want to point out that there is a sun face just above us that you can use to create a ladder so you can skip the Deku Flower Wind puzzle thing if you return here later. I'll actually be doing that in a later video, but I just wanted to point it out because I don't think that most people realize it exists, and they go through the wind puzzle multiple times to get all the stray fairies, so it's kind of cool. Now, that puzzle I just completed, believe me, I feel your grief, I know your pain. I experienced it myself, and I only make it look easy because I've played this way too much. Once you climb the ladder, you want to get back to the entrance door, you want to slap on the Deku Mask and use it to reach the first air pillar thing. You want to fly off to the left and gather the rupees, and then open the chest to get a stray fairy. Now this next puzzle is very difficult to do simply because you cannot see very well. Now a good trick you can do is to try going backwards. Now that's easier said than done, huh? But I'll show you how to do that. You want to stand on the far right side next to the chest and then spin into the airflow. If you do it correctly, you should be facing backwards. Now you can fly just like normal while doing this, so just use your analog stick just like you normally would, and work your way to the far north side of the room, getting into the next air pillar thing. You want to use Z to face forwards, and then fly back into the airflow, and then keep holding the analog stick all the way forward to get the most distance, and fly between the pillars, avoiding the real bombshell, and into the next jet of air. Once again, another difficult puzzle that I show can be done easily if you have played this game way too many times. But anyway, with that, when you get to the end, you want to open the chest that we made earlier to find a stray fairy, and then enter the next door and join me for the next video where I will show you how to defeat the first mini-boss.